Vamdeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaisnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Umma Gyanti Mirandasya Yananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Dina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vamcha Kalpataruyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanevi Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Namo Mahapadanjaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Nanme Gaura Vise Namaha Vrindaye Tulasi Devyaya Priyaye Kesavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Pradevi Satyavatya Namo Namah Sakala Vaishnava Pare Mora Namaskar Ite Kichwa Paradhana Hukamara Oye Chinnavim Prabhu Jakta Vakta Jan Vandana Koryami Savara Charanam Bhaja Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Gaura Chandra Giri Rashu Ki Jai Jai Om Visupa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Visupa Srila Bhakti Raka Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Dandavat, dear devotees, good morning. Today we're continuing our readings of Sri Guru and His Grace. Today we're reading chapter number 2, Initiation into Transcendental Science. And there's Divya Shakti Didi over there. She's with us this morning. Jai, Divya Shakti Didi Ki Jai. So let's just start our readings. Initiation into Transcendental Science. And I think the speakers are not loud enough. Are we ready? Hello? Can you listen to us, Damodar? In the speakers? Looks like not. No? How about now? Okay. Initiation into Transcendental Science. Devotee, can you explain the real meaning of Diksha, initiation? Oh, Shri Guru and His Grace Ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Raka Shirdev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Devotee, can you explain the real meaning of Diksha, initiation? Srila Guru Maharaj. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained this in the Bhakti Sandarbha. Divyangyanam yatodidhyam kuryat papasya sankshayam tasmadiksheti saprukta deshikaistatva kovidaha. Experienced scholars have explained the meaning of Diksha, or a spiritual initiation. In this way, Diksha is a process through which transcendental knowledge is imparted by the preceptor to the disciple. As a result, all the disciples' previous bad tendencies are crushed. Through Diksha, all previous commitments are cleared and one gets the light of new life in relationship with the Transcendental Lord. Diksha, or initiation, is a process by which we are given a novel connection with the Absolute Center, and at the same time, our previous commitments are all finished. It is an inner awakenment of life that brings divine knowledge. That wealth is there within us, but it is suppressed. Diksha means discovering one's inner wealth and getting relief from all outward obligations. With inner awakenment, the outward commitments vanish. Just as when you reach home, all other arrangements you may have contracted for your comforts are all cut off. For at home you find full comfort. When we are in a foreign land, we may seek the comforts which are supplied in hotels. But when we reach home, the hotel comforts are discarded. We find no more use for them. Sometimes a minor is kidnapped from home. Later, while visiting his native place, he may stay in a hotel. But if he suddenly finds his father's house and returns home, his parents will recognize him and say, "Oh, my son, you were stolen from us when you were young. We recognize your face. I mean your mother. This is your father. Here's your sister." Then the hotel is no longer needed. In a similar way, with the inner awakenment of the soul, when we return back home, back to Godhead, we will find our comfortable home with Krishna. So, to make a connection with our real home and dispense with our outward links is known as Diksha. Mantra, the spiritual formula. Devotee, what is the difference between Siksha or spiritual instruction and Diksha? Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Diksha mainly involves initiation into the mantra, the spiritual formula. Other instructions are necessary to substantiate it, to help it become effective. Certain activities are also helpful. These are all parts and parcels of initiation. So, a general direction is given by Diksha, but how to substantiate that? Details are necessary. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 5, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, verse 23 and 24, it is said, Javanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Parasevanam Archanam Bandhanam Dashyam Sakyam Atmani Vedamam Iti Pumshar Pitha Vishnu Bhaktish Jennava Lakshana Kriyeta Bhagavatiyatha Tanmani Dhitam Uttamam. Hearing about Krishna, chanting Krishna's glories, remembering Krishna, serving Krishna's lotus feet, worshipping Krishna's transcendental form, offering prayers to Krishna, becoming Krishna's servant, considering Krishna as one's best friend, and surrendering everything to Krishna. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. All these things are advised. 1,000 details may be necessary. Initiation, a spiritual invasion. If a general plans to invade another country, he must first chalk out his strategy of attack in a broad way. When he goes to practically execute his plan, so many obstacles appear, and he has to solve them and march on. If one plans to travel, first he conceives of the whole plan in a nutshell. From this foreign land, I will return home by this route. But to carry out the plan in practice, so many details are necessary. First, it is chalked out in a rock plan. And then, he must practically do so many things. First, he must hire a taxi. Then he has to go to the airport to purchase a ticket for the plane. In this way, so many details are required. So from partial knowledge, we have to develop final knowledge. This detailed knowledge is known as Siksha. Devotee. What is the position of a devotee who, although not yet fully free from the influence of Maya, accepts disciples on the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his spiritual master? Srila Sridhar Maharaj. It is better that a man who begins business with a small capital has a connection with a wealthier capitalist. Then he can prosper in his business. In a similar way, as long as one is not completely established in Krishna consciousness, he must have some connection with superior aid. Then he will be safe. If we are to fight face to face with Maya, illusion, help from the higher agencies should be our only resource. It is very difficult to control Maya. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, Taibhi mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. My illusory energy is impossible to overcome. Only one who surrenders to me can cross beyond it. Maya dreads only Krishna, for she has her backing from him. If you attempt to cross Maya alone, it will be impossible. You must have some higher connection, and with the help of that connection, you can overcome illusion. Maya will withdraw only when she sees that you have the backing of higher potency. Alone, you cannot fight and gain victory over Maya. It is impossible, because wherever you go, you're within the boundary of Maya, illusion. It may be more or less intense, but it is all Maya. Only when you really come in touch with the plane above Maya can you fight against Maya. Only then will Maya withdraw. We must have some shelter beyond Maya, from where we can fight with illusion. We are advised to take shelter of sadhus, saints, and sastra, scriptures. Their help comes from above, and we must accept that help from the inner core of our hearts. Accepting disciples and karma. Devotee. It seems that those who accept disciples have to undergo some physical difficulty or suffering because of accepting the karma of their disciples. Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Physical difficulty should not be considered, and physical success also should not be considered of much value. One should not think that if a guru has a large number of disciples, he is great. One may voluntarily accept the responsibility of the spiritual life of so many disciples, but find that their improvement is not satisfactory. As a result, he may experience some disturbance. He may think, I have taken charge of their lives, but I am not able to give them the desired improvement in their spiritual life. That is a good symptom. The Vaishnavas have no trouble for themselves, but they are troubled for others. Paradukha dukhi. In his prayer to Sanatana Goswami, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami writes that Sanatana Goswami was always distressed upon seeing the distress of others. A Vaishnava has no mental trouble for himself, but he feels mental trouble when he sees the pain of others. It is difficult for a Vaishnava to tolerate. They are always sympathetic to the misery of others. This is a qualification of the intermediate devotee. He has no trouble of his own, but he is troubled by the pain of others. An intermediate devotee cannot ignore these things. The spiritual master will have to digest some of the responsibility of the bad and undesirable activities of the disciple. He has the responsibility of managing them by his instruction. When a doctor has accepted a patient and the patient is in pain, the doctor may feel some trouble in his mind. I have taken charge of this patient, and I can remove his difficulty. In this way, he may feel some voluntary responsibility. The spiritual master may experience different kinds of suffering in different stages. Sometimes a guru may feel, I am doing as much as I can to help this disciple. Such a guru does not take so much responsibility for this disciple. He thinks, I am doing my duty, and treats his disciples with his openness of mind. It is just as in the case of the consultative physician and the family doctor. The family doctor cannot shake off the responsibility of caring for his patients, but a doctor from outside may say, if you like, you may engage another doctor. The consulting physician is not so much earnest for the patient. He may feel, I am not perfect. I cannot make him pure immediately. Whether he improves is God's will. I can only do my best. From the beginning of their relationship, just as a doctor may approach his patient with this attitude, the guru may approach his disciples. The question of how much responsibility the guru takes for the disciple is a question of the attitude he takes towards his disciples in particular cases. Devotee. Does the disciple's advancement depend more on the guru or on his own efforts? How will the disciple make proper advancement in following the principles of his guru? Srila Sridhar Maharaj. That depends on the stages of realization of the disciple. Exclusive devotion must come from the disciple towards the guru. It is said in the Shvetasvatara Upanishad, Yasya deve parabhakti yatha deve tattha guru tasyaite katitha hiyartaha prakashante mahatmanaha. The key to success in spiritual life is unflinching devotion to both the spiritual master and Krishna. To those great souls who have full faith in both Krishna and the spiritual master, the inner meaning of the scriptures is fully revealed. The Guru is Krishna's representative. We are in search of divinity, and so we must try to concentrate all our energy wherever we find a real connection with divinity. That is the key to success, because Krishna is all conscious. So, the response to our devotional efforts will come from Krishna according to our attentiveness to Him. He is everywhere. In the conception of infinite, everywhere there is center. Nowhere is there circumference. In every point, there may be center. Prahlad Maharaj saw the center present everywhere. Hiranyakashipu asked him, "Is your God in this pillar?" Prahlad replied, "Yes, he is there." And when Hiranyakashipu demolished the pillar, Lord Nrsimhadeva came out. Guru, absolute and relative. Devotee, can you explain this concept of the absolute and relative position of the spiritual master? Srila Siddhar Maharaj, by the special will of Krishna, Gurudev is a delegated power. If we look closely within the spiritual master, we will see the delegation of Krishna, and accordingly we should accept him in that way. The spiritual master is a devotee of Krishna, and at the same time, the inspiration of Krishna is within him. These are the two aspects of Gurudev. He has his aspect as a Vaishnava, and the inspired side of the Vaishnava is Guru. On a fast day like Ekadashi, he himself does not take any grains. He conducts himself as a Vaishnava, but his disciples offer grains to the picture of their Guru on the altar. The disciples offer their spiritual master grains even on a fast day. The disciple is concerned with the delegation of the Lord, the Guru's inner self, his inspired side. The inspired side of a Vaishnava is Acharya, or Guru. The disciple marks only the special, inspired portion within the Guru. He is more concerned with that part of his character. But Gurudev himself generally poses as a Vaishnava, so his dealings towards his disciples and his dealings with other Vaishnavas will be different. This is Achintya Bheda Bheda, inconceivable unity in diversity. There may be imitation and there may be deviation. Both are possible. For ulterior motives, one may make a trade of guruship. Just as in the case of the caste Goswamis and the Sahajya imitationists. For some reason or other, one may pose as a guru, but the symptoms of a real guru are given in the scriptures. Shabde parichanishnatam brahmanyupashamashayam. A bona fide spiritual master must be conversant with the conclusions of the Vedic literature, fixed in realization of the supreme truth. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11. Scriptures need saints. Anyone can say, "I am Guru." He's not Guru. Imitation is always possible, but the scriptures give the criterion for the selection of a real Guru. And the real Guru will extract the meaning of the scripture. Guru and Shastra are interdependent. One will help another for our edification. The scriptures say we must read the scripture under the guidance of a proper professor, a Vaishnava Guru, Acharya Vam Purushu Veda. So, the scripture is dependent on the spiritual master. And who is a spiritual master? The scriptures will explain. So they are interdependent. Sadhu and Shastra are both necessary. They are active and passive agents. Devotee, can you explain why Krishna appears in so many different gurus? Why must Krishna appear again and again? Can't we learn everything we know just by reading Bhagavad Gita? What is the need for constant revelation? Don't the old books contain all the truths we need to know? Srila Sridhar Maharaj. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna says, "First I transmitted Vedic knowledge to this world through Brahma, and that was entrusted to his disciples, the four Kumaras, Marichi, Angira, and other sages. The knowledge was first invested in them and later in books. First it was presented in the form of sound, not the script. Gradually it became fixed in writing. In the beginning, it descended directly through sound from one man to another, from lip to ear. No script or writing was invented at that time. But knowledge was contained in the form of sound, passing through the ear to mouth and again to the ear of another. Gradually it became lost. In connection with the mediator, sometimes it becomes lost and disfigured, distorted. And then again the Lord feels the necessity of appearing in this world. Yada yada hi dharmasya. Sometimes Krishna comes himself, and sometimes he sends a normal thinking man to reinstate the standard of true religion. Krishna says, "This karma yoga that I have spoken to you, Arjuna, I spoke first to Surya, and from Surya it was passed down from generation to generation. And so it has become mutilated and disfigured. Again, I am speaking that very same thing to you today. The enervating plane gradually erodes the truth. The truth is bright when it first appears, but gradually, with the contact of this enervating plane, it becomes weak, disfigured, and demoralized. And so Krishna appears from time to time to rejuvenate it and bring about a renaissance." Devotee, is there any difference between an acharya and a guru? Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Guru and acharya are the same, but generally it may be said that an acharya does more extensive work. And also the acharya must have extensive knowledge of the scriptures, whereas the guru may not have expressly deep knowledge of the scripture, but may have real knowledge of their purport. He may not be able to quote the scripture extensively, but feels the meaning of the scriptures. He may be a guru. But an acharya is one who preaches widely and is able to extensively quote the scriptural evidence. Marketplace of gurus. Devotee, there are so many imitation gurus in the guise of Vaishnavas who are simply out to cheat the innocent public. How can we know who is a real guru and who is a cheater? How do we know when we're being given real knowledge and when we're being cheated? Srila Sridhar Maharaj, we have to find out what is the source of his knowledge. In the marketplace, there may be imitation gold. But if we are sure that the gold we are purchasing is coming from a particular mine, we can buy it with the assurance that it has not been tampered with on the way. In that way, it can be understood by examining the source. Once, here in India, Gandhi wanted to revive the charkha system of homespun cloth. In the charkha system, the poor produced thread with a spinning wheel, and if everyone buys that cloth, called khadi, then the money goes to the pockets of the poor. But the Japanese and English cloth factories sent imitation homespun khadi here. They began manufacturing raw cloth, imitating the ordinary homespun cloth produced here by the poor. Gandhi found himself perplexed. What is this? What is this? He said, "My need is that the money go to the poorest pocket, but now the capitalists are producing imitation raw cloth abroad, and that is being sold here in India. Instead of money going to the poor here in India, it is going to the foreign capitalists." Then he founded one association, the Khadi Association, and told his followers, "You must purchase homespun cloth only from those shops who are connected with this association of mine. Then the money will surely go to the pockets of the poor." At that time he said, "This is Guru Parampara, the system of disciplic succession." Of course, this is a crude example. Revealed truth coming uncontaminated through a particular process is parampara. We must connect with a reliable succession. Only then can we get the genuine thing. The authorized association is necessary. Guru Parampara is necessary. So before we read anyone's book, we should try to find out who is his guru and from where the substance is coming down. It is only a facade, or is there any real substance within? It is only a facade. F-A-C-A-D-E.
Facade means a fake,
Okay.
A fake front. Usually it refers to a person.
Uh-huh.
Or it can be the front of a building.
Okay. Is it only a facade, or is there any real substance within? Thank you, Damodar Prabhu.
Yeah.
If we can understand that he has a relationship with a genuine sadhu, then we can give some attention to him. I often give the example of the homeopathic globule. The mere globule itself has no medicinal value. The potency is within. An ordinary guru may give the same mantra to his disciple, but what is the potency within the sound? What quality of conception or divine will is contained in that sound? That is all important. To get the mantra from a Sadguru, a genuine guru, means to get intentional goodwill or real conception about the Lord. The seed of a banyan tree may be a small seed, but the great big banyan tree will come from that seed. The will with which the particular sound is given by the guru to the disciple is all important. We may not trace that at present, but in time, if a favorable environment is there, it will express itself and develop into something great. So, when we go to purchase anything, we must be careful about imitations, or else we may be deceived. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shri Guru on His Grace, Chapter 2, Ki Jai. Alright, we'll continue reading chapter number 3 tomorrow. We'll read Descent of the Revealed Truth. Descent of the Revealed Truth. Now we'll chant Hari Haraya and we'll finish the readings today. Hello. Hello. Okay. Radhari Gopinatha Madana Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhatta Vrinda Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha Shiva Gopala Bhatta Dasaramata Jai Gosai Kori Karana Vandana Navate Vignana Savista Purana Jai Gosai Jara Murita Radhas Dasavara Padarenu Mora Pancharas Viracharana Sevi Vaktasa Nevas Naramedana Memoya Avinas Jai Gosai Jame Braje Kulavas Shishirata Krishna Shishirata Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakas Anande Bolo Hari Vaja Vrindavana Shri Guru Vaishnava Bhare Madhai Shri Guru Vaishnava Bhara Padma Koriyas Harinama Sankirtana Kohe Narottamanas Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Jai Vishpa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Vishpa Srila Bhakti Raka Shira Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Jai Vishpa Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Guru Varga ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Sapasha Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai. Sapasha Shriman Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinasha Makunda Radha Kunda Giri Vardhan ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Maharaja Vrinda ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Madh Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Jai Kulkartus ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtana ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. Jai all the devotees doing India Parikrama ki Jai.